Alright, guys. It is Monday, May 19th, the year of our Lord 2025. As far as news goes, like I said, there's a lot going on right now, and we're not going to be able to cover it all. The important things are the big beautiful bill was shot down Friday. They went through, cleaned it up, ran it through Sunday, and it passed. I think there were some things the Democrats were trying to push into it that had to be removed so it could go through. So in the House, it passed. Now they got to get it through the Senate. They are looking into James Comey, the ex-FBI director, about the 8647 seashell thing. So we'll see how that goes. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino came out and said that Epstein committed suicide. If just a small reminder, guys, the camera footage went out before Epstein died. He was on suicide watch, and there was no guards around him. And his neck was broken because of the force that was used around his neck. Now, what they said happened is he tied a bed sheet around his bed, one of the anchor points around his bed. The other was wrapped around his neck, and he leaned forward until he suffocated. That's how he committed suicide. There is no way humanly possible for you to lean forward using your body weight to suffocate yourself and break your neck at the same time. It's not possible. You break your neck in that scenario, it's because you were jerked, like you tied it around your neck and jumped from something and it pops. It will break your neck that way. Or if somebody uses tremendous amount of force, and I'm talking about literally like somebody put their boot at the back of the head and pulled, and that can snap your neck. But just leaning forward can't kill you. It can't break your neck like that. So something's up with that. 2 and 2 is not adding up to 4 in this situation. And there was a body linguistic analyst person, basically studies human emotion, knows if somebody's lying based on, and when they said this, they had the same facial expressions, almost like they were rehearsed. So something's going on. I don't know the full story, but they may be saying this, try to catch certain people. They may be, it may be a deploy. I don't know. But I will say this. There was talks over the weekend that there is some major arrests coming within this week or next. So we've got to wait and see. Right now, a lot of people are doubting that they're going to do anything. So I don't know. We've got to wait and see, guys. God works in mysterious ways, and we've got to find out how he's working in this way. But yeah, that's some of the news that's been going on. People are getting a little irate with Cash and Dan Bongino with the way they're handling things. They've only been in office for a few months. Guys, we can't ask them to move mountains in 2 days. We can't do that. There are things they have to deal with on a regular basis. I get it, but at the same time, they're going to have to start picking the pace up at some point. So, but we've got there has to be some kind of accountability with people in government. We can't keep doing this. To where people in government are above the law, or it's a two-tier system that they get to abuse. We can't keep going this route. They're going to have to start doing something. They're going to have to start cracking down on these people. I think it was, there was I forgot to say this, there was a Hinkle or something like that town. I think it's in Tennessee. The sheriff's office or the police office, the chief, basically they went through and indicted, I think, almost every officer in the police department for tampering with evidence, falsifying arrests, you name it, they've probably done it. And this is going on through the entire United States, guys. The DOJ says that there were racial arrests. Apparently, cops were telling the dispatchers they would kill them if they ever told about certain things. I mean, there's a big blow up about it right now. That's now. A lot of people don't know, but same thing happened in Arizona the end of last year. The beginning of last year, there was another town in Mississippi. They were doing entrapment things on the highway and having them go to a town one day a week to see a judge, and they were giving them like $20,000 fines for tent. The police area was just, it was crazy. They're going through and finding all these police stations that are doing these illegal things and starting to try to clean it up, but the damage is already done. People don't trust law enforcement because of this stuff. Innocent people getting jailed and put in prison because a cop lost his temper. It's bad. That's some stuff I ran across just today. It's crazy how things manifest. left unchecked. And that's what's going on. But to the spiritual side of things, so I don't go on this long tyrant of a rant about the way this system is. Over the weekend, I ran across some stuff that I'm not going to say bugged me, but didn't set well with me. We're supposed to be living where we don't judge people. It's hard to do. I'm at fault of some of that myself sometimes, but I always ask God to forgive me for that judgment, because I shouldn't be doing it myself. I don't like people judging me. I shouldn't judge other people. But saw a video over the weekend. There was a pastor talking about how he saw a guy pretending to be homeless. And he watched him for a few hours, and people gave him money. I mean, he had quite a bit of money. In one day, I think the priest said something about he had like $250 in his pocket. And then he walked 3 blocks, went into an apartment, and shut the door. It's like, okay. He's like, he walked up to that guy's door, knocked on it, and asked for his money back. Now, here's where I have the problem. Yes, the guy scammed him. But at the same time, why didn't he go up and preach to the guy and talk to him about being honest instead of being deceitful? You know, why didn't he, as a pastor, try to convert the gentleman over to being a Christian, over to being, you know, the Son of God? Instead, he went up and was berating, putting the guy down. And I'm like, it's weird when you see things like that, because one, I can understand where he's coming from. The pastor felt like he was ripped off. I get it. There's times I feel like I'm ripped off, but I'm like, apparently they need the money more than I do. Because if I had the money to give, then they needed it more than I did. So that's all that is. But to put the guy down and, you know, do all these things, I was like, was that really the godly way to handle that? I think not. But at the same time, you don't know everybody's situation. He might have needed half that money, if not majority of that money, to pay that month's rent, to finish his rent off. And that was the only way he knew how to get it, especially in a hurry. You know, it just depends on how you do things. And it also depends upon the lens you look through. It's easy to sit back and judge other people. You shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You should have done this, you should have done that. But it's hard to look at yourself and be critical. Why did I do it this way? Why didn't I do it that way? So, I guess where I'm going with this is, before we start belittling and putting people down and judging people, we might want to judge ourselves in the same light before we start judging them. Because I know in the Bible it states, judge each other the way you want to be judged. Because that's the way God's going to judge you. If you think you're entitled to everything and you're going to judge everybody, and belittle everybody, you're probably going to get a taste of that when God calls your name. So, but God also says, don't let people walk all over you. So, yes, you are supposed to forgive. And yes, in the Bible it says turn the other cheek, but a lot of people are misinterpreting that. Because in the Bible, I think it states, I may be wrong about the wording. I'm kind of leery of doing this. I think it states, if someone slaps you on the left, to present the right. So basically, when you are slapped, present the right, turning the cheek, basically. But it's a metaphor. It doesn't mean literally. God doesn't want you to take a beating and not defend yourself. That's not what God's saying. But you have to be able to take that slap from time to time. And you do have to be able to just set it aside. Because the way we do things today, people of yesterday would be, they would love living in this time, but yet I don't think they could, because we are so mentally messed up right now. It's just wild how people treat each other. I mean, these people that think they're entitled to everything and just walk up and start abusing people because they think it's funny. It's crazy. But when we judge other people, just remember, we're going to be judged in the same light. This one's a touchy one for me because I don't know the proper way to say this. without butchering some things, but because it feels like I butchered what God said in the Bible, it feels like I've butchered a few things. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, there's an old saying, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Okay. So if somebody plucks your eye out, you're going to be okay with that. You're not going to defend yourself. You're not going to try to get your eye back to where it might be replaced. You're not going to do anything like that. You're just going to sit there and let them pluck your eye out. No. You're going to defend yourself. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think any form of defense is violence, and it's just, you're the problem instead of the solution. No. If a guy is trying to take my eye, I'm going to put him on the ground and say, why are you trying to do this? I'm not going to sit there and just let him do it. And when people are like, well, why are you being violent to him? I'm like, I wasn't violent to him. He came up trying to stab me in the eye 3 times. What was I supposed to do? So we need to understand that it's okay to defend yourself. Verbally, mentally. If you're going to let somebody beat you and not defend yourself, that is not what God was saying when it said, turn the other cheek. That is not what he was saying. And a lot of people misinterpret that. There's a lot of misinterpretations of the Bible. It says, do not judge unless he wants to be judged in the same. Basically meaning, don't judge other people unless you want to be judged the same way. Like we were talking about. People misinterpret that too. They say, hey, I'm allowed to judge you, but you can't judge me. No, that ain't what it means. But people still believe that. It's okay for me to talk bad about you, but you can't talk bad about me. No. It's not how that works. And there's a lot of issues with the way things are being taught right now. But from what I'm hearing, God's going to be cleaning the churches out here soon. So these people are fixing to have to answer for the way they're teaching his words. So, guys, be safe. Remember, judging. If you do find yourself doing it, judge yourself in the same light and ask God for forgiveness. All right? Remember, God loves you. God bless you. And remember to pray.